The Iowa City Veterans Affairs Hospital is getting a whole new look by the end of 2016, but it's coming with a $25 million price tag. The driver involved in Friday's Hawkeye Downs Speedway crash is on life support. Now her family is planning what's next.
Live in high definition from your 24-hour news source. You're watching KCRG-TV 9 News at 6.
Very enjoyable day weather-wise outside, so let's check in with meteorologist Joe Winters. Hopefully people can get out.
I hope they can, because it is beautiful weather. Some of the nicest weather and nicest week ahead that we've seen the entire summer so far. Take a look at our current conditions. We'll look live right now at our Vinton City Cam, and you'll see what we've been seeing through much of the day, a bit of filtered sunshine. There have been a few more clouds that have rolled in, and the farther south you go, a little bit more mugginess in the air. But still, this is the early part of August. It is comfortable. 81 degrees right now in Vinton. That's true across eastern Iowa. Very light winds out of the north and northeast. Dew point in Vinton, a very comfortable 55 degrees. No weather problems anticipated. And our hour-by-hour evening planner shows partly cloudy skies. We'll drop down to 70 as we head toward 9 o'clock. By midnight, we're well down into the 60s, and that means another comfortable start as we head into Wednesday. Looks like things will continue that way into the weekend. The complete extended forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Joe. Well, across the U.S., communities are meeting to talk about how to keep their neighborhoods safe as part of the annual National Night Out Day. Police in Dubuque are joining in and focusing on ways to reduce gun violence. Dubuque police say they've seen relatively steady numbers when it comes to gun violence in the city for the 2 previous years. In 2013 and 2014, Dubuque police saw about 25 instances of shots fired. But so far this year, in 2015, the city's on track for more reports since it's already seen 20 instances of shots fired, and there's a lot of year left. KCRG-TV 9's Dubuque Bureau Chief Katie Wiedemann joins us live from Comiskey Park, where police are holding the Neighborhood Night Out event. So, Katie, what are they hoping to accomplish with this?
Well, police say they're trying to build relationships with the people they say are their greatest asset, the law-abiding citizens who just want a safe place to live. Police say too often this is how officers meet people when something goes horribly wrong.
Usually when we're showing up, it's because there's a problem or an issue. This is a chance for us to communicate and work together and get to know each other in a much more positive environment.
Lieutenant Scott Baxter leads the police department's crime prevention efforts. He says community outreach events are one of the most effective ways to solidify strong neighborhoods.
It's got to be a concerted team effort, and we're well aware of that as an agency. These folks are too. Baxter says the recent violence happening is not unique to Dubuque. It's something police across the country are adjusting to. And in a nation where we're seeing increased violence, frankly, you can't expect your law enforcement to be less violent when they're trying to combat a problem like that. But it's a problem he believes can be diluted with a little help from the neighbors. If you don't belong to your neighborhood association, either join one or start one. There's a lot of things going on here tonight for police and kids to do together, games, music, all kinds of stuff like that. Now, Baxter says parents often tell their kids things like behave or police will put you in jail. And he says that makes children scared of police officers, and then they don't want to talk to them when they really need their help. And this event tonight is another way to help change all of that. Live in Dubuque, Katie Wiedemann, KCRG-TV 9 News.
The family of the driver involved in a weekend crash at Hawkeye Downs Speedway says they're making funeral plans. Joan Feller is on life support for injuries she sustained in a crash last Friday night during the last lap of the Legends race. The driver crashed head-on with another car. That car was stalled on the track. An ambulance took Joan to a nearby hospital in critical condition before flying her to the University of Iowa Hospital. Today, her family posted on a GoFundMe webpage that doctors told them she will not recover from her spinal injuries. And the family is raising money for her funeral with that GoFundMe page. The money will also help pay for Feller's youngest child's education. He's about to start his freshman year at the University of Iowa. Friends and family are remembering an accidental shooting victim in Vinton today on what would have been her 15th birthday. A friend accidentally shot Emma Redlinger last February. It happened inside a Vinton home, and the investigation has not resulted in any charges yet. Amy Redlinger says her daughter was fascinated by photos of Chinese lanterns launched into a night sky. So that's how she'll be remembered tonight, with the launching of at least 50 Chinese lanterns at Celebration Park in Vinton.
I think we'll be kind of the last big event that we'll do for Emma, and if the kids in the community decide the launch is maybe something they want to do every year, we'd certainly help them put something like that together, but maybe open it up to a memorial launch for other folks that have been lost as well.
There in Vinton to remember Emma Redlinger would have been on her 15th birthday, as we've mentioned. That starts at 7:30 tonight. The Chinese lantern launch will happen at 8:30. People today protested a bill that critics say would let businesses discriminate against people who are gay or pregnant. Monica Vernon organized the protest outside 1st District Congressman Rod Blum's office in Cedar Rapids. Vernon is running to challenge Blum's seat next year. The protest centered on Blum co-sponsoring the First Amendment Defense Act in the U.S. House. It would prevent the government from punishing a person for following their religious belief of traditional marriage. But Vernon says one clause could even allow a business to fire a woman for getting pregnant and not being married.
I think about my daughters. If one of them would become pregnant and choose to raise the child, have the child, raise the child, whatever. I mean, just being pregnant could get her fired from a position.
The lie is that this bill or the First Amendment Defense Act would allow an employer to fire an unmarried single mother.
Blum spokesperson says the bill is aimed at protecting religious organizations and their beliefs. But the KCRG fact-check team found the bill as written would apply to businesses as well. Blum says there are plans to rewrite the law, but that's not happened yet. Major improvements are underway at the Iowa City Veterans Affairs Hospital. Crews are working on 3 major projects with the total price tag of about $25 million. Those projects include a new treatment center, emergency room entrance, trauma room, operating room, and parking garage. Outpatient visits at the hospital jumped from 283,000 2 years ago to 300,000 last year. Emergency room visits also increased.
It's a neat time for the veterans. I mean, there's really the crux of all this is to serve them better.
All the major work is expected to be completed by the end of next year. Family Promise of Linn County hosted its 4th annual golf outing today. 44 golfers teed off at the Hunters Ridge Golf Course in Marion. The event is an effort to raise money for expenses to help more families who have children and are homeless. Family Promise currently serves about 20 families a year, but they'd like to see that number grow.
We know there's kids out there, they may be doubled up with other families, they may be living in their cars. And we know that if we can get these families into stable situations, that they'll be better citizens.
Family Promise of Linn County gives homeless families safe places to stay and meals through volunteers that are connected to local churches. Once again, workers with the Iowa City landfill have diverted thousands of pounds of furniture from becoming waste. Officials with Iowa City's mega recycling sale, known as Rummage in the Ramp, today announced they were able to recycle about 25 tons of desks, couches, and chairs. Oftentimes, those items end up here in the landfill when college students' leases expire at the end of July. The sale involves donating the used items to a downtown parking garage where workers and volunteers then sell them. This year they made more than $17,000, which went to charities. The Iowa Department of Education is giving 6 Cedar Rapids elementary schools a total of more than $447,000 in grants. It's part of a program that addresses the needs of kindergarten through 3rd graders who are at risk of educational failure. Schools generally use these innovative risk grant money to hire additional staff that'll work with students who need extra support. Van Buren Elementary received the most money at $90,000. Harrison received $88,000. The innovative grant also gave $70,000 each to Taylor Elementary, and the other schools receiving money include Johnson STEAM Academy Magnet School, Hoover Elementary, and Wright Elementary.
West Branch is an undiscovered gem that just sits over here quietly just outside Iowa City.
Businesses say even though our town West Branch is a smaller community, its proximity to a big city is beneficial, and why one business decided to stay after a major setback. Stay with your 24-hour news source, KCRG-TV 9.
Live, on air, and online from your 24-hour news source. Bruce Owney, Beth Malicki, Chief Meteorologist Joe Winters, and Sports Director Scott Sable. This is KCRG-TV 9 News at 6.
Iowa Iowa has more than 100 licensed wineries, including one in Our Town West Branch. The Brick Arch Winery takes its name from the iconic brick arch that frames the building's main entrance, but it almost didn't open.
Good morning, Brick Arch Winery.
Owners Eileen Landy and John McNutt chose the old West Branch Post Office building for their winery.
It was also a gas station for more than 60 years.
They started construction in June of 2010, digging a cellar next door for a new building for event space.
And later that same day, my old historic building collapsed and slid into the hole due to a structural problem under the arch that we weren't aware of until the post-mortem.
But the owners decided to build at the same location. They dug out the bricks and used them to reconstruct the arch based on the 1907 design.
The backdrop on my stage in the event space.
That's where the winery hosts live music almost every Sunday and Friday nights. Landy says that was always the plan.
We wanted to have a space where we could be indoors year-round because Iowa's weather is too changeable and too challenging through too much of the year.
Landy's also the wine maker.
There's a lot of science to it, and I approach that differently than a lot of winemakers because I have a PhD in microbiology.
Brick Arch offers 15 different varieties, both whites and reds. She says they tend to be drier than most Iowa wines, largely because of the grapes she uses.
Our grape growers are in Iowa when we can. Some of them are in Illinois as well, and New York. A few from the West Coast, things that we can't grow here.
The winery's labels often have something to do with farming, like Save the Barn, Tire Swing, and Farmer's Daughter. Landy says despite the early setback, the business is growing.
People in West Branch have been so amazingly supportive through the collapse and afterwards and during construction. It was the right choice to stay here.
We'll be live in Our Town West Branch this Friday for Hoover Days. You can catch our live reports on the 5 and 6 p.m. newscasts. And this year marks 25 years of Our Town. And we're looking back at the 4 communities we featured this year in a special You Can Get a Taste of Waverly, Oldwine, Galena, and West Branch. That's happening August 16th at noon on KCRG-TV 9. Well, we'll take you to the Cedar Rapids Country Club for the Rotary Pribble Junior Tournament. Just roll.
And the weather can keep rolling just like it is. We are enjoying it. Take a look at the highs we saw from Pinpoint StormNet. 85 at Senior High School in Dubuque, 83 at Linn-Mar, 84 at Xavier, 85 also at Prairie. More comfortable and dry weather to come. We'll show you how long next. Keep it here on TV 9.
Good night for dinner al fresco.
A beautiful night. Go outside, enjoy. In fact, it's going to be quiet as we head through the next several days. Cedar Falls City Cam UNI campus quiet right now. Moving those starts, and hey, 20 days from today, school starts. Keep that in mind. 60 degrees for the morning, 78 degrees at noon. Real nice weather through the week. Isolated storm chance builds on Sunday.
I loved going back to school.
I did too.
My kids not so much. Thanks for joining us for the KCRG-TV 9 News at 6. Hope to see you back here tonight at 10.